Leadership isn't about power, position, or a nameplate on a door. It's about the ability to influence, connect, and move people forward in families, teams, businesses, and everyday life. No matter where you are right now, your leadership potential has no limit, and that's exactly what this journey is about. Welcome to the Leadership Code, the place where timeless wisdom meets real-world growth. In this audiobook summary, we break down the big ideas so you can apply them in your daily life without reading hundreds of pages. Whether you're a student, entrepreneur, manager, creator, or someone working on becoming a better version of yourself, this summary will meet you where you are. John C. Maxwell, one of the world's most respected voices on leadership, has spent decades teaching, mentoring, and shaping leaders across industries. His teachings remain powerful because they aren't based on theory, they're built on experience, failure, reflection, and real transformation. In the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, Maxwell lays out 21 foundational principles that anyone can follow to lead more effectively. In this summary, you'll not only understand what each law means, you'll learn how to apply it in your relationships, work, business, and personal growth. From influence and intuition to momentum, connection, respect, growth, and legacy, each law number holds a lesson you can use immediately. If you're ready to grow your leadership from the inside out, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Leadership Code so you never miss another life-changing summary. Now let's begin the journey into law number one. Law number one, the law of the lid. The law of the lid teaches that your leadership ability sets the ceiling for your success. In simple terms, you can only go as far as your ability to lead, whether you're running a business, a family, or a personal goal. John Maxwell shares the story of the McDonald brothers, who created a brilliant restaurant model but couldn't scale it. Their leadership lid was low. Then Ray Kroc stepped in, saw the potential, and built McDonald's into a global empire. The idea was the same. The leadership level was different. Here's the core message. Your impact is limited by your leadership capacity. If your leadership is at a level 5, your business, team, or influence will never rise above a 5. How do you apply this? Grow yourself before trying to grow others. Read, learn, and practice leadership daily. Ask, where is my lid stopping my growth? Seek mentors, feedback, and new challenges. Lead yourself well before leading anyone else. Success doesn't start with strategy. It starts with leadership. When you raise your lid, everything connected to you rises with it. Law 2, the law of influence. Maxwell makes it clear, leadership isn't about titles, positions, or authority. True leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. You can't force people to follow you. They choose to follow based on trust, respect, and connection. He shares the story of Mother Teresa. She held no official power, no wealth, and no political position. Yet world leaders listened to her, and millions were moved by her vision. Her influence didn't come from rank, it came from character and service. In everyday life, this looks like building trust through actions, not titles. Leading by example, not command. Creating connection before giving direction. Serving others to earn respect. The law of influence teaches that leadership lives in relationships, not resumes. People follow you because of who you are, not what you're called. Law 3, the law of process. Maxwell teaches that leadership isn't built in a day, it's built daily. The law of process reminds us that growth is gradual, not instant. You don't become an effective leader by reading one book, attending one seminar, or getting a new title. Leadership is developed step by step through consistent learning, reflection, and action. He uses the example of the legendary basketball coach John Wooden. Wooden didn't win championships overnight. He built winning teams by focusing on daily fundamentals, discipline, and long-term growth. In real life, this means improve yourself a little every day. Learn from mentors, books, and experiences. Practice patience. Growth compounds over time. Focus on progress, not perfection. Great leaders aren't born ready. They're shaped by the habits they build, and the lessons they apply over time. Leadership is a journey, not a moment. Law 4, the Law of Navigation. Maxwell says that good leaders don't just move people forward, they know where they're going and how to get there. The law of navigation is all about seeing the path ahead before others do. It's not about reacting in the moment, but preparing for what's coming. He uses real-world leaders who plan before acting. They studied the situation, anticipated roadblocks, and created a route others could follow with confidence. That's what makes people trust their direction. To apply this, don't just set goals, map the journey. Look at past failures to plan smarter. Think through possible challenges. Lead with vision, not impulse. People follow leaders who see beyond today and can guide them through tomorrow. If these insights are helping you grow, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Leadership Code so more leaders can learn with you. Law 5, the Law of Addition. Maxwell says that great leaders don't focus on what they can get. They focus on what they can give. The Law of Addition is built on one simple idea: you lead best when you serve others. Leadership isn't about being important, it's about making others feel important. He shares examples of leaders who gain influence not through authority, but by adding value to their teams, listening, supporting, and helping people grow. When leaders make life better for others, their impact multiplies. To apply this law, ask, "How can I help?" instead of, "What do I gain?" Celebrate others' success. Support people without expecting credit. Make decisions that benefit the team, not the ego. When you add value to others, you earn trust, respect, and lasting influence. And that's real leadership. Law 6, the Law of Solid Ground. Maxwell reminds us that trust is the currency of leadership. You can have talent, vision, or authority, but without trust, people won't follow you. The Law of Solid Ground makes it clear: character builds credibility, and credibility builds influence. He gives examples of leaders who fell the moment their integrity did. When trust is lost, leadership collapses quickly. But when leaders act with honesty, humility, and responsibility, people feel safe following them. Here's how to live this law. Do what you say you will do. Own your mistakes instead of covering them. Be transparent, not perfect. Let your values show in your decisions. Leadership stands firm when character does. The stronger your integrity, the stronger your influence. Law 7, the Law of Respect. Maxwell explains that people naturally follow leaders who are stronger than they are, not in power, but in character, competence, and conviction. Respect isn't claimed, it's earned through consistency and credibility. He tells the story of Harriet Tubman, a woman with no rank, no resources, and no formal authority. Yet people trusted her with their lives because of her courage, resilience, and unwavering sense of purpose. Others followed her because she proved she could lead. In everyday leadership, this looks like keeping your word even when it's hard, staying calm in pressure and crisis, showing confidence without arrogance, treating others with fairness and dignity. People don't follow position, they follow strength of character. When others respect you, leadership becomes natural, not forced. Law 8, the Law of Intuition. Maxwell teaches that leaders see the world differently, not just through facts, but through insight, experience, and awareness. The Law of Intuition is about sensing opportunities, threats, and needs before others even notice them. He shares how great leaders don't just react to situations, they read them. They pick up on people's emotions, team dynamics, timing, and unseen challenges. Their decisions often seem instinctive, but they're built on years of observation and growth. In practical life, this means pay attention to more than the words. Read the people and the moment. Use both experience and awareness when making decisions. Stay curious and alert to shifts in morale, performance, and direction. Trust your informed instincts. They're shaped by learning and reflection. Leadership intuition isn't guesswork. It's the ability to sense what others miss and act before it's obvious. If you're enjoying this summary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Leadership Code for more insights. Law 9, the Law of Magnetism. Maxwell explains that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The law of magnetism reveals a powerful truth. Your attitude, values, and habits shape the kind of people who come into your life or team. He uses real-world examples to show that successful leaders draw in people who reflect their mindset. If you're driven, ethical, and growth-focused, you'll naturally attract similar individuals. But if you operate with negativity or low standards, that's who shows up around you. In everyday life, this means your team is a reflection of your character. To attract better people, become a better person. Leadership energy sets the tone for culture and performance. People follow leaders who live the values they promote. Great leadership starts from within. Who you are determines who follows you, not your title, but your character and influence. Law 10, the law of connection. Maxwell teaches that leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. The law of connection emphasizes that influence doesn't begin with commands or credentials. It starts with human connection. He points to leaders who don't lead from a distance. They listen, observe, and empathize. Whether it's a CEO walking the floor or a coach spending time with players, real connection builds trust and loyalty before direction ever happens. In real life, this means people follow you because they feel understood, not because you're in charge. Listening is more powerful than talking. Respect and influence come from genuine care. When people feel valued, they perform with commitment, not obligation. Leadership isn't about authority first. It's about building a bridge, heart to heart, so influence can naturally flow. Law 11, the law of the inner circle. Maxwell explains that a leader's potential is determined by those closest to them. The law of the inner circle highlights a powerful truth. You don't rise alone, and you don't fall alone. Your inner circle either expands your leadership or limits it. He shares the example of great leaders who surrounded themselves with competent, loyal, and growth-minded people. They didn't try to do everything themselves. They built teams that multiplied their impact. In real life, this means evaluate who's closest to you. Do they lift you up or hold you back? Invest in people with character, competence, and commitment. Delegate, empower, and grow others, not just yourself. Build a circle that aligns with your mission and values. The strength of your leadership is reflected in the strength of your team. The right people don't just support your vision, they help shape it. Law 12, the law of empowerment. Maxwell teaches that only secure leaders give power to others. The law of empowerment is about trusting people enough to let them lead, contribute, and grow, instead of trying to control everything yourself. He highlights leaders who failed because they were threatened by others' potential. In contrast, great leaders, like Henry Ford and Theodore Roosevelt, succeeded because they empowered capable people and allowed them to shine. In practical terms, empowerment looks like this. Let go of fear and control. Focus on growth, not ego. Give others authority, not just responsibility. Encourage initiative and reward leadership behavior. Believe that helping others rise makes you stronger, not weaker. When you empower people, you don't lose influence. You multiply it. Leadership isn't about holding the spotlight. It's about lighting the way for others. And since this is law number 12, here's your gentle reminder. If you're gaining value from these summaries, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the Leadership Code. It helps this message reach more leaders like you. Law 13, the law of the picture. Maxwell teaches that people do what people see. The law of the picture says that leaders must set the example before they give the instruction. You can't ask for commitment, discipline, or integrity if you don't model it first. He shares how military leaders, coaches, and CEOs earn respect, not by talking about standards, but by living them. When your actions match your words, people naturally follow. When they don't, trust disappears. Here's how to apply it. Lead with your behavior before your voice. Show the attitude, effort, and values you expect from others. Be consistent. People notice what you do more than what you say. Remember, leadership is a visual long before it's verbal. In families, workplaces, and teams, people mirror what they observe. When the leader sets the pace, others follow with confidence. Your example is your loudest message. Law 14, the law of buy-in. Maxwell explains that people don't follow a vision first. They follow the leader behind it. If they believe in you, they'll believe in your mission. But if they doubt you, even the best ideas fail to take off. The law of buy-in shows that leadership starts with trust, credibility, and connection. He shares the example of Mahatma Gandhi. People didn't just believe in independence, they believed in him. His character, sacrifice, and clarity made millions follow his lead, even without a title or authority. In everyday life and business, the lesson is clear. Earn trust before pitching a plan. Lead by example, not position. Connect with people before directing them. Show integrity, humility, and competence. Once people believe in the leader, they naturally support the vision. Influence flows from who you are, not just what you propose. Law 15, the law of victory. Maxwell teaches that great leaders don't accept defeat, they find a way to win. The law of victory is about commitment, creativity, and resilience. When failure isn't an option, leaders think differently, act decisively, and inspire others to push through challenges. He points to Winston Churchill during World War II. With limited resources and overwhelming odds, Churchill refused to surrender. His determination and belief in victory united a nation and shaped history. In business, leadership, and life, this law comes down to mindset and responsibility. Leaders take ownership, even in crisis. They create solutions instead of excuses. They inspire their teams to keep going. They adapt until the goal is achieved. Victory isn't about luck. It comes from leaders who refuse to quit and bring others with them. Law 16, the law of the Big Mo. Maxwell explains that momentum is a leader's best friend. When Big Mo, momentum, is on your side, everything becomes easier. Teams feel more confident, people buy into the vision faster, and progress accelerates without forcing it. He shares how winning sports teams don't just rely on talent, they ride momentum. Once they start scoring, energy builds, and suddenly the whole team performs better. The same happens in business and leadership. To build and sustain momentum, leaders must create small wins early, celebrate progress to boost confidence, remove obstacles that slow the team down, stay consistent. Momentum dies with hesitation. When momentum grows, even average people achieve great results. Without it, even the most talented team struggles. And since this is the 16th law, here's your quick reminder. If you're gaining value from these insights, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Leadership Code to keep growing with us. Law 17, the law of priorities. Maxwell teaches that leaders never confuse activity with accomplishment. The law of priorities reminds us that being busy doesn't make you effective. Doing what matters most does. Great leaders don't try to do everything. They focus on what moves the mission forward. He talks about the Pareto principle. 20% of your efforts often produce 80% of your results. Successful leaders identify those high-impact tasks and act on them first. To apply this law in real life, ask, what gives the greatest return, impact, or reward? Eliminate or delegate low-value tasks. Protect time for what truly drives growth. Stay mission-focused, not distraction-driven. Leadership isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, consistently. Law 18, the law of sacrifice. Maxwell explains that you can't climb to a higher level of leadership without giving something up. The law of sacrifice teaches that leaders must let go of comfort, ego, or convenience to move forward and serve others effectively. He points to examples like Martin Luther King Jr. and Mother Teresa, people who sacrificed personal gain for a bigger mission. Even in business, CEOs often give up perks, time, and security to lead at scale. To apply this law today, trade immediate comfort for long-term impact. Let go of me-first thinking and focus on service. Sacrifice rights to take on greater responsibility. Understand that the higher you lead, the more you give. Leadership always comes with a cost, but the payoff is growth, influence, and legacy. Law 19, the law of timing. Maxwell teaches that great leadership isn't just about making the right decision. It's about making it at the right time. The law of timing shows that even a good idea can fail if the leader acts too early or too late. He uses examples from business and history where timing made the difference between breakthrough and breakdown. Leaders who read situations well, the mood, the momentum, the readiness of their people, create success others can't. To apply this law, read the environment before acting, know when to slow down and when to move fast, understand your team's readiness for change, combine good judgment with patience and awareness. Right action plus right timing equals real leadership impact. A great leader doesn't just see the opportunity, they know when to seize it. Law 20, the law of explosive growth. Maxwell explains that if you want to add growth, lead followers, but if you want to multiply growth, lead leaders. The law of explosive growth shows that true expansion doesn't come from doing everything yourself, but from developing others who can also lead. He points to organizations that scaled rapidly, not because of one great leader, but because that leader invested in building other leaders who carried the vision forward. To put this into practice, mentor people who show initiative and potential, share responsibility, don't hoard it, teach others how to think and lead, not just follow instructions. Build a culture where leadership is multiplied, not centralized, followers add. Leaders multiply. If you grow leaders, the impact spreads faster and wider than anything you could accomplish alone. Law 21, the law of legacy. Maxwell teaches that a leader's greatest measure isn't what they accomplish during their lifetime. It's what continues after they're gone. The law of legacy is about leaving something that outlasts you, people, principles, and impact that live on. He highlights leaders who thought beyond their own success. They intentionally developed others, passed down values, and built systems that would thrive without them. To live this law in real life, lead with long-term impact in mind. Mentor and empower those who will come after you. Pass on principles, not just plans. Build something others can continue, not just something with your name on it. A true leader doesn't aim to be remembered. They aim to leave others better. Legacy isn't what you get from leadership, it's what you leave behind. Conclusion. We've just traveled through John C. Maxwell's timeless roadmap of leadership. 21 powerful laws that don't just inform, they transform. From the law of the lid, reminding us that our leadership ability sets the ceiling for our impact, to the law of influence, process, and navigation, each law built on the idea that leadership is learned, practiced, and earned daily. We explored why character sustains leadership, solid ground, how respect is attracted, not demanded, and why intuition, magnetism, and connection shape the people we lead. Laws like empowerment, buy-in, victory, and momentum showed us that leadership isn't about standing in front. It's about lifting others, solving problems, and moving people with purpose. And as we climb toward the final lessons, explosive growth and the law of legacy, Maxwell made one truth very clear. Great leadership doesn't end with us. It multiplies through others and lives on long after we're gone. These principles matter today more than ever. Whether you're leading a company, a team, a classroom, a family, or just yourself, these laws give you tools to influence with integrity, grow with intention, and succeed with impact. So take these lessons and live them. One decision, one habit, one conversation at a time. Leadership isn't a position, it's a daily choice. And the world needs more people willing to lead with vision, courage, and heart. If you enjoyed this summary, like, share, and subscribe to the Leadership Code for more powerful leadership book summaries.